What are the reasons why we buy real estate? Okay, number one, let's go to number one. Write this down. You need to memorize this stuff because these are things that I make decisions on every single time I buy a deal. Okay, what are the reasons why we buy real estate? Number one, pretty obvious. Why do we buy real estate? Okay, we want cash flow. Okay. Is there a world where I would buy a house even if it didn't have cash flow? Okay, why is that? Why would we buy a house without cash flow? Well, let's not go to the other reasons. Just tell me, why would I buy a house without cash flow? Besides the other stuff. To live in. I like that answer. I like that answer. It's a good answer. Guess who doesn't care about cash flow? 99% of real estate transactions that happen. Homeowners that buy houses. Do anybody in here, does your personal house cash flow? Okay, so a lot of people buy houses without cash flow. Pretty interesting, huh? Okay, so the number one reason we buy real estate is for cash flow. All right, so let's say I buy a $300,000 house, and today it's worth $300,000. With that example I just gave you, the house in North Carolina, attached to this $300,000 house is also a $2,300 a month mortgage payment. All right? So if this house that's also worth $300,000, I paid $300,000, it's worth $300,000. So I paid full retail value. Most real estate investors would say that you didn't get a good deal. I will never subscribe to that line of thinking ever again. Probably 7 years ago, I'm like, really? That's what you guys are, that's how you're determining whether it's a good deal? So all you knuckleheads are competing on the same deal and offering 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar? That's what people are teaching. And the reason why you guys think real estate is so competitive is because everybody's offering the same 50, 60, 70, 80 cents on the dollar to get a good deal as an investor. Except I walk in and I go, can I just take over your mortgage at 2.35% interest? And they're like, why didn't anybody tell me that for the last 6 months? I'm like, because they weren't in Cody Sperber's office with me. Okay, so I will turn around. That property will generate somewhere around, I can't promise it'll do this, but it'll be around $6,500 in gross revenue. So the number one reason why I bought that real estate is cash flow, right? Pretty cool. What's the number two reason we buy cash flow? The number two reason we buy real estate is appreciation. Okay? Future growth, right? This is the stealth wealth. You don't know it's there, but every time you look at Zillow, I know some of you guys that own your houses, you guys check on Zillow every 90 days, and you're like, that's my retirement account. Imagine having like 2,000 of those. And as the market goes up, your wealth goes up. It's pretty cool. So we buy for appreciation. Now, this is not promised, but it's obviously hopeful, right? So I bought a house at 300. And the goal is that property, let's say in 10 years, that property is now worth $500,000, right? That's the goal there. I'm going to teach you a couple of really cool things that I don't do. Again, sorry, mortgage officers, I don't use mortgage officers. Even when I have equity, I'll tell you guys what I do when I have equity, okay? So that's number two. Pretty obvious. Now, is it linear like that? Does it go like always like that? Or we kind of have a little bit of this, right? But over time, it's like that, right? Okay, the number three reason why we buy real estate. A lot of people have said it already. Right, the IRS is like, please buy real estate. Please stop giving us 30, 40% of your income, you knuckleheads. Please buy real estate. We'll let you keep your 30% if you just go buy real estate with it. That's why we buy real estate. You guys are like, where can I get money to buy real estate? Maybe stop giving it to the IRS. The IRS gives you a bonus. That's not literally what it's called, but I call it the IRS bonus. And it's their good boy bonus. Good boy, you bought real estate. Why do they do this? The government is horrible at housing. So they're trying to incentivize real estate investors to go build affordable housing so that housing is taken care of in the United States. They give you a bonus. How does that work? Am I getting into the weeds about this, by the way? Or is this good? Okay, so let's take this for example. I buy a $300,000 house. Pull out your calculators. Androids have calculators, right? Okay, so I've got $300,000 house I just acquired. Here's the equation. The IRS I don't want to get too into the weeds of this, but I'll give you, they came up with an equation. It's 27.5. And what that 27.5 means is that they say in 27 and a half years, that property will go through $300,000 of improvements and repairs and all sorts of stuff. So you will have essentially a property that's worth zero if you don't fix it up. Okay, that's a very simple way of saying it. Okay, so what they do is they go, hey, how about this? Every year we're going to give you a tax incentive divided by 27.5. So that purchase price, somebody pull your calculator out. How much? Thank you so much. $10,909. That's pretty freaking cool. So that means in my first year of owning this property, the IRS will say, hey, we can wipe this off of your active income over here, okay, because I'm a full-time real estate investor. They go, we can, if you go make, let's say I wholesale a deal for $10,900. Let's say I go make a bunch of money in my title company or make a bunch of money in my lending business. Guess what? It balances the scale. So I can make $10,900 over here, and because I own this property wipes out that $10,900, and I don't have to pay taxes on that $10,900. That's pretty cool. What's even cooler is in your first year, when I elect to do this, okay, I can go to 7 years, all in the first year. What's that number? 76,363. So in my first year, my CPA goes to the IRS and says, Pace just bought this property. By the way, IRS, he bought it with no credit check. Nobody checked his tax returns. Nobody cared if he has a job. This guy's basically homeless, but he's still buying real estate. He goes to the IRS and says, we would like to elect to take 7 years of bonus up front. So what does that mean at my tax rate? Okay. What do you guys think my tax bracket is? It's 43%. Okay, that's me. I'm in the top 1% of the 1%. Do you know what it takes to be in the 1%? 500 grand a year. That's what it takes to be in the top 1%. How much does it take to be in the top 1% of the 1%? $2 million a year. You guys can get there, I promise you. 1% ain't shit. You guys can get to 1% easy. The 1% of the 1%, that's where the challenge is. And you can get there too, I promise you. Okay, so what's cool is how much money did I actually not have to pay in taxes this year because of this one property? So take 76,363 and multiply it by 0.43, which is my tax rate. Okay, so this year, okay, the third reason I buy real estate is because of depreciation is what it's called, okay? That's what I call the IRS bonus. The IRS, how much was it? 32,836. So this year alone, isn't this crazy that I haven't even cash flowed on this property $1 yet, and I already saved $32,000 in taxes? They don't want you to know this. Isn't it crazy? Nick knows this stuff. This guy is a legend. If you guys don't know Nick, holy shit. Pretty cool, okay? So can you understand why I would buy a property maybe that doesn't cash flow its first couple of years in order to get the tax benefits? Like, would you break even for a couple of years in order to raise the rents, let's say on month 24? You go, okay, I'm gonna break even for a couple of years, but I'm gonna take that tax benefit, because if you divide that 32, do me one more favor, take that 32,000 and divide it by 24 months. So that means for the next 2 years, the way you look at this is the IRS is giving me a nice little kickback for $1,300 a month, regardless of whether the property's cash flowing or not. That's every single house I buy. It's even better when you buy a multifamily, okay? It's even better when you buy a multifamily. Now, what's the fourth reason why we buy real estate? What's that? I like that. That kind of ties into what number 4 is, yes? No, actually it doesn't. Okay, what's the fourth reason we buy real estate? I can tell you, the more real estate I bought, my wife was not impressed. I can tell you that right now. Okay, here's the fourth reason why we buy real estate, guys. As my house is filled with tenants, who pays the mortgage? The tenant. So am I paying this debt or is somebody else paying for it? Think about this. Greatest hack on the planet. How do you retire? Well, you could go to a job and work by yourself for someone else for 40 straight years to accumulate maybe $300,000, $400,000 in retirement. Or I could recruit thousands of other people to pay 33% of their paycheck towards my debt. By the way, that's the average amount of money people pay in rent. Disgusting. So guess what I'm doing all day long? Am I buying houses? No. I am recruiting human beings that think they work at Walmart, Hewlett-Packard, all these places, but they really work for me. I am recruiting an army of people to pay down my debt, give me cash flow, give me tax benefits, and guess how many of them know me? None of them. Not a single tenant knows who I am. That is crazy. So you guys are going out working for your boss. Luckily, none of my employees are in here. You're working for your boss. And you know what I do? This is how much I love my employees. 20% of all my real estate acquisitions goes into a pool for all my employees. 20%. Why? Because I'm living my purpose. God put me here to accumulate resources, knowledge, experience, and give that to you, and also build a team of people that benefit from my experiences, getting kicked in the face, having that guy rob me from my peace. Okay? So what do we call this? Number 4. I'm almost done. Cody Sperber's like, Pace, please wrap up, please. Guys, do you want me to wrap up or no? Tell Sperber that then. Okay, so the 4th reason we buy real estate is called pay down. Okay? Somebody asked me the other day, Pace, how do you make money? I said, I crowdsource my wealth. When I go to Disneyland, I go to Disneyland different. Y'all look at people in your way in line and you're bothered by the people. I'm like, everything, I look at every human being. Doesn't matter the color of their skin, how tall they are, who they are. I just go 33%, 33%, 33%, 33%, 33%. 33% of your income will go to pay down my cash flow, my management, my team, my taxes, and my debt. So here's what ends up happening. Wouldn't you like to have those glasses on? Be able to look at things that way? So my tenants pay down my debt, and guess what happens? My net worth increases, right? I call this magical zone right here, I call this the delta. Okay? That is where wealth is created. Okay, so that is paid, that's number 4. Now the 5th reason, and we'll wrap up here, the 5th reason why we buy real estate is leverage. Now, a lot of people that don't know how to raise capital, okay, Vina Jetty, I learn from her every day. Raising capital is a skill set she's acquired and mastered. But a lot of people that raise capital will understand how I do what I do here. When you have a big delta, let's say this house, my mortgage gets paid down to $150,000 as my debt after a couple of years. My property is now worth $500,000. How big is my delta here? Okay. $350,000. So what can I do with that $350,000? But how? A lot of people will say refinance. But why would I refinance a loan that I got 2.35% on and has already gotten, and by the way, you guys know how amortization works, right? The banks are really smart. The average human being stays in their house or refinances every how many years? 5 to 7 years. Okay? So what they do is they segment, okay? Here's how amortization works, just real quick. Gosh, I get so hyped about this. Like, is there ever a time where you're like, oh, I'm so excited to tell people what amortization is? Okay, here's what it is. You start here. This is where your mortgage starts, and this is where your mortgage pays off, right? It's at 0. Here's at 300K, right? Do you see how fast that curve goes down? The first 10 years of your mortgage, about 85% of that is interest. So what all these people are doing, by the way, you guys are like hearing all the economy is like going horribly, but yet people are out there spending a crap ton of money. How are they spending a lot of money right now? Did you guys do a lot of refis last year and the year before? People pulling out equity, right? You think maybe our whole entire economy right now is living on equity from 2021 and 2022? Isn't it amazing to like start thinking about this? That is where a lot of people's money is coming from. Credit cards as well, like Andre just said. All right. So why would I, if I'm at like 10 years in and all of the sudden my mortgage payment, when I make that mortgage payment of $2,300, instead of $2,000 going to interest and $300 going to principal, it's now the opposite. It's like $400 or $500 goes to interest and the other like $1,800 goes to principal. Why would I refinance that? You wouldn't. So how do I use that $350,000? Say that again. You can do lines of credit, or there you go. There's my guy. This, okay, is number 5. It's called leverage. I can go to my private money lenders and I can say, hey guys, I'm buying a big deal over here. I need $350,000. How do I make sure my private money lender is secure? I put a lien against this $350,000 in agreement called a lien, and I say, you are secure. Worst case scenario, if the shit hits the fan, you get that house, you get that $350,000. Holy crap. That's the note you should be writing on your piece of paper right now. You are playing Monopoly. You are creating money. And the great thing is, I'm not creating the money. My tenants are creating the money. And a seller gave me their house with their payments attached to it. Isn't this kind of scary? Can you imagine if they taught us this in high school? We wouldn't even know what to do with it. We were so busy trying to kiss girls.